Ladies and gentlemen, KBB family, can you hear me? Facebook has been having problems all day with their groups. I guess there's new software for the broadcast side here. I hope you're able to hear me. Will someone please let me know it's working? I've had 3 runs at this, and I thought I was talking to you guys, and they came and told me nothing was coming through. Can someone please let me know that we're getting through, someone before you leave me here, so I know it's working? Would someone on the team let me know? It'd be really helpful. Okay, so listen, guys. All of you jumping on here. It's working. My goodness. Well, good. Listen, everybody, thank you for your patience. This is Tony Robbins, obviously. I just wanted to reach out for a few minutes to visit with you and welcome all the new family members to the KBB family that have joined. I want to thank you for pushing yourself, for being willing to try something new, for your faith in not only Dean and myself and what this process is about, but also your faith in yourself. You know, so many people have tried so many things over the lifetime, and things have not worked. Very often they don't work because we really don't work them. We don't give it our all. Sometimes they don't work because they really aren't a useful tool. But in this case, this community, this time last year, I think we had about 12,000 people on. Today we got about 24,000 people and about 35,000 people working in the program, to give you an idea. And those who've been with me for a while, here with Dean for a while, and part of the KBB family, you know this works. You know the power of it. And I've read some of the recent posts of people just getting started. They're so excited. And I just want to welcome you to the family and say congratulations. But I also want to talk to you just a few minutes about what gets in the way. Because 80% of success in life, I've found beyond a shadow of a doubt, with the tens of millions of people I work with in over 150 countries, 80% of success is psychology. It's your mindset, it's your emotion, it's your capacity to overcome your fears and your limitations and just push yourself anyway. 20% of success in life is knowing what to do, having the skills or the strategies or the tools. Now that might sound weird to you because most of you know I'm a strategist. Like, I know the right strategy in anything can save you 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You could be working for a decade doing something that's not working, and all of a sudden you get the right offer, the right approach, the right insight, the right way of communicating, and the whole game changes. So strategies can turn decades into days, can compress decades into days. It can accelerate your success like nothing else. But strategies don't get implemented whenever we allow our mindset to get in the way. And the natural mindset of all human beings, it's set in our brains. It's, you know, we have a 2 million-year-old brain. That's all that's been around. And if you let the survival mindset, which is the part that we go to under stress and fear, most of us, if you let it take you over, it's always looking for what's wrong. It's always looking to find what's wrong, what could hurt me, what could get in trouble, and let me either avoid it, let me freeze, or let me fight, or let me hide, right? People are either running from it, or they're freezing, or they're fighting with what they're afraid of. And so what I want to talk to you about is that 4-letter word, that 4-letter F word that'll mess you up. And it's not the word most people think of, it's the word fear, right? We call it false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R. But I tell people, for most people, it's more like F everything and run. That's what it really feels like when fear takes over. So if you're going to transform your life and you're going to get in your own business, and by the way, how much fear is there in the world right now with this coronavirus? I mean, it's crazy. I've been talking to doctors all over the world, and you see all this hype in the media, and certainly it's a real issue. But 600,000 people die every day or every year of the flu in the world, 80,000 people last year in the United States. In the last 2 months, we've had 26,000 people die of the normal flu, and we've had, 11 people, I believe, here now in the United States. So yes, it's something you have to deal with, but you have to use your mind and let the fear overcome you, and life feel like it's upside down. Because in reality, there are people dying. It's horrible. Any human dying is horrible. But the truth of the matter is more people dying of influenza A and B. There was an article in U.S. News and World Report. The title was "Virus You Should Be Afraid of." It's a whole different component. So, and that's what's really happening right now. People are overreacting. And so if somebody's elderly, if somebody has pre-existing, respiratory condition, something to be concerned about, you notice that the whole world is freaking out. We have an event we were doing in San Jose, California. One person passed away, was 60 years old, has no connection to China by the description of CDC or NIH, has no connection to anybody that they know of that's had the virus in any way, but she has the virus. Well, you have tuberculosis in your body, you have strep in your body, you have all kinds in your bodies, but it's not manifested. So the point is, you don't need to overreact. Yes, you need to be intelligent, not overreact. And when it comes to a business, what crushes you, what keeps you from having what you really deserve is this capacity to understand the truth. The truth is, when you're doing something new, it's not going to be perfect. And if you're trying to be perfect, if you're putting pressure on yourself that you have to get through everything in the short order and be the master of the universe, you're not going to probably take much steps. You're going to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or you're not going to take any steps at all. So I think it's really important to understand that Dean started out with nothing. I mean, Dean's done over $1 billion in business now, and the businesses I'm doing over 6 billion a year in businesses. It's a combination of all my companies together. But that grew from literally nothing. It grew from the exact process that you're about to begin, self-education. It is an incredible power, my friends. But if you're judging yourself constantly about how well I'm going to do, you're never going to get started. So I want to just say this for starters. Please, for your benefit, if you're brand new especially, if you're absolutely brand new, that's what I'm talking mostly, the rest of you have done this already, get yourself into that first module right away, because it's all about mindset. Don't be afraid of like, oh, it's overwhelming. And you don't have to do it all at once. I'm a crazy mofo. Some of you are like me. Some of you are going to go, I'm going to do this day and night for the next 2 or 3 days of this weekend. And I'm going to go through the whole thing one time. Then I'm going to go through it a step at a time. That's how I do it. But it's just as easy to say, look, I'm just going to do 1 module a day, or I'm going to do 1 module a week. It really doesn't matter the tempo. What matters is there's consistent progress. By the way, my friends, do you know what makes you happy? People always ask me, Tony, you travel over the world, you work tens of millions of people, you've dealt with people that are happy and sad, people are frustrated, overwhelmed, people are excited. What's the difference? What does it take to be happy? And there's one word that'll make you happy: progress. Progress equals happiness. See, if you're massively overweight and you don't do anything, you're going to get more and more frustrated with yourself. But if all you did is make a little bit of progress, not even lose weight, you're just starting to work out a little bit, 20 minutes a day. After about a week or 2 of doing that, if you keep your word with yourself, you're going to start to feel progress. You're just going to start to feel stronger. You're going to feel healthy. You're going to start to lose a little bit of weight. And progress is what drives us forward. And so we designed this program so you can make continuous progress. And we designed it so that we ask you questions so we know you're really getting it. And we keep feeding it so you can get to the level where you want to be. So it doesn't matter where you're starting, my friends. It matters where you're going to end up. And it doesn't matter the tempo. It matters you make progress each day. So either just a little bit each day or each week, whatever you got. Because people tell me all the time, I don't have time to do this. It's like when I was starting my business, I know it's like I was walking uphill both ways through the snow as a child to school. You know that whole story. But it's the truth. I was working all day long. I did my 9-to-5 job. And then I started my real job, which was 6 to 2 a.m., right? And that's like, those hours are priceless. Now, you don't need to do this. You could do this on the weekend. You could do this a little way, but you got to get into it to create the momentum. Make sense? And so I want to talk to you just a little bit about what do you do to kind of train yourself, to train your mind, because I didn't just start out this way. I read a series of books. I'll tell you the first book I read when I was just struggling. My father and my mother fought like crazy. On Christmas Eve, my mom, my dad left, and then my mom chased me out of the house with a knife. She wasn't going to kill me. I knew that, but I wasn't going back in there. And I slept the first night literally on this hilltop, and then it rained, of course. And then the next day I slept in the laundry room of a friend of mine. And I had like, like $12, $13, $14, I think, in my pocket. And I took the one bus, was really cheap, to a place called Claremont, California. And I went to this bookstore because I thought I've got to feed my mind. Because see, fear is automatic, right? It's built into us. Again, it's this 2 million-year-old brain that's always looking for what's wrong. And so I thought, I got to feed my mind. And so I went to this bookstore, and this book jumped at me called, Magic of Believing, by Claudia Bristol. And I read this book cover to cover, and it taught you how to condition your mind. And it talks about this idea of incantations, this idea of not affirmation, like, oh, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, and your brain goes, BS, I'm not happy. But using your whole nervous system, saying every day and everywhere, I'm getting stronger and stronger. And I would do this stronger and stronger, happy and happier, more and more grateful. I would do this for hours while I went on miles of walking. And I would literally just do it over and over and over again until there was so much certainty in my body. There was more certainty than the fear. But I think the real thing that helped me, and I think will help you, is if you have some fear, no matter where you are in the process, you're about to do your first program, you haven't even started the program, and it's kind of getting in your way. Turn fear on itself. I started to realize, I think I'm more afraid of having a life that isn't meaningful. I'm more afraid of having a life where I'm not doing anything that's useful for others than I am of not looking good or failing or not going well. And some of you know, I think I shared maybe on our broadcast, but my first event, I really learned all this material. I studied Jim Rohn, I read all these books, and I was like, I want to help people like many of you. And I didn't have a KBB program to guide me. And in those days, it was expensive. You couldn't start a business and, do a Skype call or a Zoom call and do a mastermind, or things like that just didn't exist, right? I'm an old guy from that perspective. So you had to pay for ads and big ads, and they were sending broadcasts to everybody. It wasn't like Facebook where you could find your niche per se. There was no social media, right? You had to spend a lot of money to make brochures that you had to send through the snail mail that cost money, and you had to rent these big rooms. And so I rented this room, I'll never forget it, the LA Hilton Hotel, downtown Los Angeles. I was on fire, and I ran all these ads, and I spent all this money, more than I had. And I was like, I'm gonna help all these people. And I rented a room for over 500 people, and I thought, they're all gonna show up. It's gonna be to the brim with all this advertising I'm doing, and I'm offering this for free. There's no charge. And guess what? 7 people showed up, right? And it's not like 7 people showed up for a Zoom. That's cool, right? You got no downside to that. Now you help those 7. And they were all spread out across all different parts of the room. And so I called everybody to the front row. I said, come on down here, right? And then I went like there was 500 people, and I added so much value to them. I think I crushed them. But the people became my very first clients. And then I just built from there. Well, today, as you know, when you go through the KBP program, we're going to not only show you how your mindset and your skills, and we're going to show you the marketing, and we got the software. I mean, it's a different game today for you. You don't have to do the crazy Stone Age stuff that Dean and I did in the early days. But the same things get in the way, though, and that's your fears. Because everybody's got them. I don't care how strong you are. You might call it concerns. You might call it hesitancy. But you and I both know if fear shows up, if you're human, it's just the way it goes when you're doing something new. So let me give you the first important key on handling the fear. Because people ask me this question all the time. They go, Tony, how do you get up there and do a seminar and have, 10, 15,000 people, and you're there, 12 hours on stage a day, you don't have any notes, and aren't you afraid? Aren't you concerned? Well, first of all, you gotta understand, anything you do enough, you're gonna have no fear in, right? Tying your shoes is confidence. Most of us can do a pretty good job of that, right? Tie your shoes and think about other things simultaneously. You do it so often, but in the beginning, it took all your focus and attention. It seems so hard, but then it gets in your body. And so, obviously, having done tens of thousands of interventions and, seminars and events and podcasts and all stuff over, 40 decades plus, my 43rd year right now, obviously there's not a lot of fear. I can still show up. Like I can have, I remember when I had my dear friend Steve Wynn, who built most of Las Vegas, show up to my business program, Business Mastery, and he sat in the front row, and I thought, I'm not really very fearful, but I'm feeling a little uptight here. Like, what do I teach this guy, But I actually, it was 2008, and I really helped him immensely. I helped him, he made some decisions that changed the direction of how he was going to deal with that really tough financial time. So I just want you to know, everybody gets it. That's number one. But the way out of it, stop thinking about yourself. See, if you're not thinking about yourself, if you're not thinking about how am I coming across, if you're not thinking about how am I doing all the time, when you do that, you go in your head. When you go in your head, you're dead. What I mean is the human mind will always, if you're thinking about you, it'll always find something, some flaw, some challenge. My obsession, and I want to invite you to make this your obsession, whether you're getting up to do your first mastermind or you've done many and you want to do more, or you're just getting in the course, is to know that the secret out of fear is to focus on how to serve, not to focus on yourself. See, if you're not thinking about yourself, there is no fear. I'm out there in the audience. I call it uptime. Uptime means that I'm thinking and feeling what they're thinking and feeling right now. And I've done enough preparation in my mind. I've done enough of loaded my brain with good content. I've got an outline of where I want to go. Many times that outline changes completely because I'm so into this audience. I'm focusing on how can I serve them. I'm thinking about what I want to share with them, something I feel so passionate about that I know will make a difference for them, and I'm connected to that in my heart, not just my brain, but in my heart, so that when I speak, it has a different level of passion, aliveness, energy, focus. I didn't write out these words, right? It changes when you're with the audience. So when you're in uptime, when you're feeling everybody, and you're out there with them, and your whole focus is on serving them, it's amazing. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS. It determines what you notice. As an example, if you've ever bought a certain car or an outfit, and then suddenly you see that car outfit everywhere. Well, those cars and outfits around before? Of course they were. But now that you own one, that outfit or that car, you see it all the time because your RAS, the reticular activating system, says this is important and notices it. So like if you set a goal that says, I'm gonna, master real estate investments, and I'm gonna teach that to people. And then you're in Starbucks, and you've really thought about this day after day. This is my goal, this is my focus. The brain goes, this is important. Now there's a couple or two people like 5 tables over, and the noise is loud, and you'll hear them talking about a real estate deal. Part of your brain literally becomes conditioned for it. So what I really want you to do here is, I want you to realize that our process is about conditioning the mind and the emotions so you do things. Now, I want to give you a simple distinction. Stop thinking about you, over-prepare for them, and just know that you're not going to be perfect. There's no way. What many of you would consider to be failure, I call a speed bump on the way to success, because I know that as long as I learn something, it's not a failure. Those 7 people showing up in the room of 500, it was painful, it was expensive, but it was my beginning. And I had enough drive not to give up. Because if you will persist, if you will immerse yourself in these things, and if I were you, I'd do the KBB program more than once. I know many of you have done it 2 or 3 times. It's just like anything else. You know, my original teacher was this man named Jim Rohn, and he used to say, repetition is the mother of skill. In other words, repetition is the mother of mastery. If you don't dabble, you got to just keep sinking it in. The first time you hear something, read it, you kind of understand it. If you do it again with emotion, you get excited about it. You do it multiple times, it becomes a part of you. And it's like, I used to beat myself up because I'd go to a seminar, I'd read a book. In those days, a seminar too, it's really expensive for me. I'm making those days $35 a week as a janitor. And like, you know, an audio tape program of 6 cassettes used to cost like $300. And I'd go buy one. So it's weeks and weeks worth of work. But what happened was, because I spent so much on it, I listened to it again and again and again. And now in this stage of my life, you know, I work with some of the greatest athletes in the world. I've worked, you know, for 5 years, during the 5 years that the Golden State Warriors were running. I own, you know, a portion of the LAFC soccer team. We had 2 best seasons, opening seasons in the history of, you know, Major League Soccer here in the United States. Conor McGregor is my client who I just worked with, who just won his fight. I've worked with, I could go on and on. I got 4 NBA championship rings. I've got an NHL championship ring from teams I've worked with. What have I learned from all that? I've learned that what makes somebody absolutely extraordinary is what you don't see them do. If you look at LeBron James, who just dominates the court, right? Or you look at somebody like Steph Curry, I've had the privilege to get to know and work with. These guys, Steph doesn't make those half-court shots by randomness. Michael Jordan didn't become Michael Jordan by randomness. It's because even during the offseason, he worked out 5 days a week. He made sure he shot at least 1,500 shots. He had to make at least 500 of them in order for his nervous system to be trained. So I always tell people, if you see people being rewarded in public, they're being rewarded for what they've practiced in private over and over and over again. And even if you got another job or 50 other things, you're only going to do this part-time, why not turn your car into the University on Wheels and do the audio portion there? By the way, I've also given you, and I did this last year spontaneously, I read people's comments like I've done here, by the way, I'm seeing them going by real good. And I'll read them all afterwards as well and get as good scanning. But what I'll tell you is, I brought everybody and I said, listen, what I noticed helping you most is psychology. So I gave all of you, as part of this program, my Ultimate Edge program. We gave it as just a bonus, but you got so many things you may not have noticed. And that's an audio program that I designed that's the most successful personal achievement program of all time. Literally, tens of millions of people have utilized this for success. And it allows you to listen like 30, 40 minutes a day, each day while you're driving in your car, while you're working out, while you're cleaning the house, and you use what I call net time, no extra time, to train your brain. Because you're going to need that as much or more than you're going to need any of the skill sets we're going to teach and make it happen. Now, some of you, by the way, I'm talking to, you know, to the crew that already has it. I'm talking to the pews that already are full. You already are doing this. You're already making it happen. But this is what you really need to remind yourself in those times when things do show up. Because everyone hits what I call the threshold of control. In fact, if you want to be successful in business, you're not going to succeed on a large scale until you face the threshold of control. And once you face it, you'll face it again and again, but it'll become an old friend because you'll keep growing. What's the threshold of control? It's where you get to the edge where you feel like you just can't do it. Like if I put a dot in the middle of life and I go, this is a problem. And if you have a comfort zone that says, that's within the things I know how to deal with, you'll handle it. But if this is the circle of what you can deal with and the problem is way out here, it feels out of control, like I don't know what to do. So what we have to do is we have to learn to take where our comfort zone is and expand it. And the only way that happens, quite frankly, in most cases, is you face a real challenge. So I'll give you a metaphor. Have you ever gone skiing or snowboarding? And most people that ski are terminally, intermediate. They get to a certain level they're okay with and they stop really growing. And the reason is because they don't push through their fears. They hit a threshold of control that they can't handle and they pull back. And when you pull back, your world gets smaller, not bigger. Does that make sense? So if you've ever, let's say you're an intermediate skier and you're going down a nice green, easy, or blue slope, and you miss the wrong turn and you hit a double black diamond, and your whole nervous system goes, oh my God, I'm gonna die, I can't do it. But you can't go back, there's no place to go back, it's up, and you have to go down. Now you got two choices. One is you start to ski, you gotta control, you look over the edge of the cliff and you freak out and slam yourself against the hill and hang on for dear life to try to survive. And the people like that will never really learn to be extraordinary in skiing or snowboarding. And then there's the other person that says, you know what? If I look at what I'm afraid of, I'm going to stay afraid. I'm never going to master this. And so they focus not on what they're afraid of. They focus on where they want to go. And they just completely block out as much as they humanly can, even though the heart's beating like crazy. And they focus on where they want to go. And of course, wherever you focus, that's where your skis go. And so they go back and forth and they learn how to carve. Well, for me, I can remember, being up in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And I can remember being in a place where it's like, I hit my threshold of control. I was beyond what I could handle. We had literally no money left. Some people that I was working with stole money from me. I was brand new in business. I didn't have the details. Things were on a handshake. And I had no capital, no way to do anything. And I'd broken beyond my threshold of control. There was no way to figure it out, but I did. I'll give you a fun story, quick one. So I go up to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and I'm going to do my first seminar. This man invites me up who's going to promote me and fill the seminar, guy that stole money. And I get on a radio show, which launched my career, and help take on people who are having real challenges. And I say to everybody on the radio, I don't care what your challenge is. I don't care how many years you've had it. Come see me. I'll handle it in 1 hour or less because I'm the one-stop therapist. Now, I get all these phone calls. Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? I'm yes, of course. Yes, come. I'll handle it. And then I get this call from this guy on the radio attacking me. I'm a psychologist, you're a liar, people like you should not be allowed on the radio, it's impossible to cure phobias, in an hour, it can take 7 or 8 years or 10. And so I said, sir, are you a scientist? He said, of course, I'm a physician. I said, well, scientists would never make any assumptions. I said, you've never met me, right? Never met my clients. So I said, you're making assumptions. You must be stating your hypothesis since you're a scientist. Your hypothesis is, I can't do this, it's not true. But I said, if you're truly a scientist, you have to test your hypothesis, right? Yeah. And I said, well, great. I said, I'm doing a free guest event at the Holiday Inn tomorrow night. Anyone listening can come for free. And I'm going to do a demonstration of this. I said, give me one of your own patients. I said, I'm sure you got somebody that's, you haven't been able to change. And he goes, well, we all have people like that. I said, I haven't found any. Of course, I'd only done like 4 therapies at that point, but I had confidence, or at least was pushing myself. And so long story short, I got him to show up at this event. And instead of having 7 people show up because of the conflict, people on the radio show wanted to see this. And so we had standing room only. The place was just blocked out, people standing along the walls of the apartment, and they would shut us down. And I'm looking at this person, it's like, okay, I'll be there. He's just like really intense guy. He'd been working with this woman who has snake phobia for 7 years. I said, bring her down. It should take me 30 minutes or so, or 10 or 15 minutes, right? And he goes, So long story short, true story. I stand up as I introduce myself. Hi, I'm Tony Robbins. I'm here to share with you tools that can help you change things in minutes you thought would take months or years. And then all of a sudden, the side door bursts open. I've been looking for this person I thought was like a tall, big man with a voice like this. There's a big guy with a scared woman on his arm. Right? No one met that condition. So I say, my name's Tony Robbins. The side door bursts open like a movie. This little guy walks up to me while I'm standing on the stage with this woman wrapped around his arm. I goes, here is the woman. And so I bring the lady up and I say, ladies and gentlemen, I said, I'm here on the radio the other night. I said, this is the woman in question. I said, ma'am, you have a snake phobia? She goes, yeah, how do you feel about snakes? And I yell snakes and I get really intense and she freaks out. And if you've ever seen a phobia, they freak out. And so then I pulled out a live snake, a little gardener snake, not a big deal. And she really freaked out. So I worked on her. It took me about 15 minutes at the end. We wrapped the snake around her using a simple NLP technique, neurolinguistic programming. It became my calling card. And then all of a sudden, I was trying anything. I pushed through my threshold of control. Do you follow? More than I could handle. Then I get a phone call. And then the next thing I know, I'm doing these free guest events. I'm trying to show people what I can do. And this man comes up from Canadian Immigration. And he comes up and he says, hey, he said, I'd like to meet you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I said, well, tomorrow the seminar starts, at 7. He goes, I know, it won't take long. You just meet me at 5 o'clock. Here's my card. He's from Canadian Immigration. So I'm a little concerned because I got to be on time for the seminar. And I get there, true story. And the man makes me wait for another 30 minutes. It's 5:30. I'm still sitting in the place freaking out. And he says, I'd like to see your work papers. And I said, what's a work paper? He goes, your working papers to be in Canada. I said, well, I don't know what that is. He said, well, not understanding law is not an excuse for it. He said, if you don't have working papers, you're stealing Canadian jobs. I said, wait a second. You got Canadian firewalkers here? I'm doing a firewalk. He goes, it doesn't matter. You're doing NLP. There are other people in NLP. And there were people there that had little events of like 25 people. And I got 500. And they called and said he shouldn't be allowed to do this. So they told me they're going to shut me down. And they said, if you start to do the seminar at the Holiday Inn, he said, we will close it down and we will put you in handcuffs and we'll export you back to the US. And I left there. Talk about threshold of control. This is a bigger problem than I've ever faced. I mean, I didn't expect this is going to be a problem. I don't know what the hell to do. But I was one thing that I know you are if you got this program, resourceful. Now, I hear people all the time say, oh my God, I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. I don't have the right people. I don't have the technology. I don't have the time. Everybody focuses on what they don't have. When I say, why'd you fail? They'll always give me this list of why they didn't succeed. But you know what's interesting? Resources are never the problem. A lack of resources is not the problem. It's a lack of resourcefulness. Creativity is a resource. If you're creative enough, you can come up with an answer. Passion is a resource. If you got enough passion, you can push yourself through. Determination is a resource. It's more powerful than almost anything else. If you're determined enough and you persist enough, you can figure anything out. I know you know that or you wouldn't be watching a program like this right now. So bottom line is, if you have the right emotions, you can solve things. Sam Walton built Walmart. They all said he was going to go under, but they didn't understand his ability to wake up his team and say, we're going to get up at 2 a.m., drive to another city, 2 hours, buy the cheapest stuff, drive back 2 hours, put on the shelves before we open in the morning, have the cheapest prices in town. That's what took him from a guy that wasn't supposed to survive to the biggest retailer, external retailer outside of Amazon on earth, right? So breaking through the threshold of control, how did I do it? I just got resourceful. My team said, what are we going to do? And everybody said, we got to shut it down. I said, no way. I said, I can't do it in Canada. How far is the closest city in the United States from Vancouver? And they said, well, just, I think it was Bellevue, Washington, if I remember right, just across the border, we have this little town. I said, see if there's a Holiday Inn. There was a Holiday Inn. I said, let's call a Holiday Inn. Let's swap for that room. And I said, go get me 5 buses. And I'm going to announce to everybody this is a traveling seminar. And this is a true story. And I'm going to jump on the buses every 15 minutes and keep people in state while we drive over. And it was supposed to be a 20-minute drive, or that's what I was told. In a minute. And the Holiday Inn was up, there was a bar mitzvah or wedding right next door. So it was so loud you could barely hear me. I said, lie on the ground, close your eyes. I'm going to give you a deep hypnotic trance. We did that 4 days and nights and I lost only 6 people. I pushed through the threshold of control. Do you follow me? I can remember coming back to my office at 15 people about a year later, and I'd hired a new person to help run the show. I was on the road, and the person was really mean to my people and emptied their bank accounts, paid herself and her best friend, and my staff showed up and said, we can't stay. We love you, Tony, but we can't stay if you have her. Found out she'd emptied the bank accounts. I needed $50,000 to keep the doors open. $50,000 would be like $5 billion to me today. And guess what? I figured it out. I did everything I could. I called everyone. I finally found this man I'd helped who had done, he was a stunt man in Hollywood. He'd only gotten 1 job before I met him. After I got him, he got 12 jobs in a row, made a ton of money, and become a star, and star stuntman. And so I called him up, said, I want to have dinner with you, had dinner, and I told him the whole truth. And I said, I need $50,000 to keep the doors open. I said, I really want to borrow 50. The only person I know is probably has $50,000. I can't tell you how I'm going to pay it back, but I'll tell you, you can trust me. I keep my word. You owe me $50,000. I kept my word. I figured it out. I turned the business around, gave him his money back, of course. And then about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I thought about this story. I was sharing it with somebody. And I looked him up because he never reached back out to me again, and thanked him again, gave him another $50,000. It was a total surprise just for fun, but broke through the threshold of control. I could go on and on. I can remember when I had a company with a group of supposed billionaires, and one of the guys, billionaire family, but had no money, and almost tubed the business. I was left with all the debts, more than $150 million of debts, and I figured that out. So I want you to understand, every time you deal with a bigger problem and you break through, then that's how I went to billion-dollar businesses, because I learned how to deal with a $100 million problem instead of a $500 problem. You follow me? Or a $50,000 problem. So if you can keep pushing yourself, if you can not collapse and give up on the side of the hill, but you can say, I'm going to figure a way to carve, I'm going to focus on one, I'm not going to give up, then that's what's going to determine whether you get to where you really want to be or not. It's more important persistence And immersion in your psychology is more important than anything else. Now, let me give you another illusion people have that keep them from succeeding real fast while it pops in my head. People say to me, well, I'll do this when I feel ready, or I'll do this when I feel stronger, or I'll do this when I feel more comfortable. If I waited to do things until I was comfortable, I wouldn't do shit, right? Because most of what I've done in my life was not comfortable. Now it might be comfortable now, years later, decades later, but in the beginning, are you kidding me? To walk out, I remember trying to do Date with Destiny. The very first one I did was like 38 people in my home, and I was super stressed out. I can remember we went to 50 people, to 100. I thought I could never do more than 100 at a time. Now we have 5,000 people at Date with Destiny, and it's a piece of cake, and I'm able to deliver at levels I never dreamed of. See, don't judge yourself too soon, my friends. If you wanted to become a medical doctor, you'd pay a fortune to go to school for 4 years. Then you go to medical school. Then you go and, you get to be, low man on the totem pole, right, as you go through and work, at a hospital as an underling, so to speak. And eventually, you maybe have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to open an office if you're going to operate in that place. I mean, it is full of years, 8, 10, 12 years before you're really seeing any kind of rewards. And here you could start to enter a professional business with a matter of weeks, and you're going to make mistakes, but it's not going to be life and death. Just remember, nobody's perfect. What people are looking for today is what's raw and what's real. I'm not sitting here with a script that I'm reading, trying to figure out what to say to you. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes based on the things I've read you guys do and say, I love you. I've got the experience. Let me show you what to do. And this is what you're going to do for people in the area that you're good at, whether it's learning how to cure acne off your child, or how to end a relationship or a divorce that's still kind, or teaching someone who's a tax accountant how to do tax accounting the way you do that's so successful. I don't care what it is. We have 4,000 niches that we know about, and with all the new people, I'm sure it'll be 5,000 or 6,000 before the year's out. We're gonna have so many new ways to help people. You gotta stay focused on the mission. The mission will get you over your fear. You gotta stay focused on helping. You gotta stay focused on what you're passionate about. And you can't wait to do things till you're comfortable. Some of you know every day, I did it this morning as I do every morning. If I'm at any of my homes, and if I'm not at a home, I try to find a place I can do it. But every morning I'm in any of my homes, I have these cold plunges. In my home in Sun Valley, I have the river. And all my cold plunges are 56 degrees. And of course, the river during the wintertime, I walk through the snow and it can be 42 degrees. And what's the first thing I do? I jump in that thing and I literally immerse myself in freezing cold. Now, I do it for 2 reasons. Number one, it's unbelievable for your health because it stimulates blood through every ounce of your body. And it is not comfortable, but when you get out, it feels like $1 million because you feel so alive. But I can tell you honestly, there's never been a day, I can't remember one day where I was like, oh, I can't wait to jump in that cold water. Never. So why do I do it? To train my brain that I don't negotiate with myself. I don't go, well, maybe we'll do it tomorrow, or, maybe in an hour, or I don't stand there and go, not yet, soon. I just go, and I train my brain, and when I say go, we go, and I've done that so many times with things that are difficult, that when something difficult comes up in business or in life or in family, my brain doesn't freak out. It goes, we're going down that double black, and by the way, we're going to find the way down it. When we get to the other side, we can help other people get down that double black. We can actually enjoy what other people feel challenged by. Does that make sense, my friends? That's really what this is really all about. And if you're going to train yourself, stop saying I'm doing when I feel like it. I do when I don't feel like it, always. And if you make that your habit, because you got to understand, fear is a habit, so is courage. So is courage. Courage doesn't mean you're not scared. Courage means you're scared, but you do it anyway. That's what makes you courageous. If you're not in any fear, there's no courage involved. Courage is I'm scared shitless, but I'm going to push myself. And if I keep pushing myself, eventually I won't be fearful, or at least the fear will be very, very small. So focus on giving. Focus on what you're passionate about. Focus on there are people that need something you have, because they do, my friends. If there's a little bit of knowledge, see, we're talking about specified knowledge, specific knowledge, not general education. Hell, you can Google anything general today. Well, we want to know specifically how to help people in a specific area. And you can do it in a mastermind where it's not you, where you get a bunch of people together that all share their point of view, and you become the person that extracts it. Or you can become the reporter, remember, like I've done, where you go out and interview the very best people, like I've done around finance. I'm doing it now around regenerative health. The best doctors in the world that are showing breakthroughs in stem cells. By the way, Dr. Bob Harari is one of my partners in the stem cell business, is considered kind of the father of stem cells. He's the guy that 28 years ago, I think, he did treat whole rats, and he gave them young rats blood, and their hair turned from gray back to black. Their muscles got stronger. They literally became younger. Then he took these older rats and put their blood in young rats, and they aged. And so in the beginning, that was kind of like vampire stuff. People were like, oh, rich people are going to get young people's blood. But that led to discovering stem cells. And by the way, in China, there's 3,800 coronavirus deaths in the world. Remember, 600,000 people on average die every year of the flu around the world. And it's in every continent except Antarctica, all the same language you hear about this. But guess what? Of those 3,800, 2,800 plus are people from China. And the people that really are having or dying are the people that have real respiratory challenges, usually. Elderly people in those positions. And the one thing that's helped them, was just reported, in fact, maybe we'll put a link up here for you later on so you can see about it, is that it's the one that have been using stem cells. And so Dr. Bob Hari, there's a great link on New York News today, where he was describing how they're using NK cells, NK killer cells that are built in your own body to activate your immune system so it can deal with viruses and things of this nature. So there's solutions coming to anything. Whatever problem there is, don't get me wrong, problems can destroy your business, they can hurt you, hurt your relationship. But if you're proactive and you take care of yourself, most problems, not all, can be solved. If a human created the problem, a human can solve it, right? And that's the nature of how we operate as people. So focus on the game, focus on training yourself to do whatever it takes. And I would really encourage you to use the Ultimate Edge program. Do it 30 minutes a day each day. You can maybe do the other program, whatever, our KBB program, but this one, the first module will help you with your psychology, and then there's a daily input during that time, no extra time, running, walking, cleaning your house, whatever, driving in your car. Feed your mind. Because if you don't feed your mind, fear grows automatically. Weeds, you don't have to plant weeds grow. You have to plant the good stuff. And great ideas don't interrupt you. They have to be pursued. And that's what you're doing if you invested in this program. So one last thing I want to give you before I go. I'm going to kind of scan what I'm seeing people right here as well to pop in here. Fear is a habit, good. So you guys are picking it up. Is, whenever you're fearful, whenever you produce doubt, it's because you're questioning. And there's a time for questioning, and there's a time to stop questioning. Like, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if I try it and then I lose out? What? All those what ifs, they don't move you forward. And the only way you're going to find the truth is you may fail. You may succeed the first time. Speed up on the way to success. You want to push yourself. You want to keep pushing until you find the answer. It's like there's a gentleman, I talk about this in my business mastery program sometimes, but there's a gentleman named Mel Fisher. And Mel had this idea that he's going to find this Spanish galleon that he read about that was lost at sea in, I think, the 1600s and is supposedly filled with all this gold. He spent 16 years looking for this gold. There was no real map. He had ideas of where it was. He went and tried. He raised money. Can you imagine spending a year of your life every day going out on the water and finding nothing? Can you imagine doing it for 2 years and wasting all the money of all the investors and trying to go convince people you can go find it? Can you imagine keep doing that after 4 years? Can you imagine after 10 years? After 10 years, who's going to keep going? Mel Fisher. 16 years, he found $500 million worth of gold. $500 million. Now, you can't live on that, but it gives you a good start, right? Most of you know Walt Disney, right? Near bankruptcy multiple times. Ted Turner, great CNN, went bankrupt once, almost went bankrupt 3 other times. These guys just picked themselves up and kept going. There's very few humans who do it, but if you're one of those, and my bet is you are, you wouldn't be on this broadcast, then just keep going. Keep feeding your mind and keep testing and trying. Whatever happens, just learn from it, learn from it, learn from it. But here's the questions that most people have. Think of it this way. Every one of us has decisions we're making. And there are 3 decisions you're making every moment of your life. And I teach this in my seminar, but I want all of you to hear me now. There's 3 decisions you're making every moment. The first decision is, what are you going to focus on? See, whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. Even if it's not true. If you focus on, oh my God, I'm going to fail, you're going to feel like a failure, you're not going to go through it. If you focus on, oh my God, I'm going to touch so many lives, it'll probably take longer than I think. I always tell people, most people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in a decade. And in my case, it's been 4 decades. So you can't believe the compounding impact of continually learning and helping people, what it creates. It's insane. You start with nothing, just like compounding dollars, and it becomes huge. But in order to get yourself to do that, you got to focus on what empowers you, not what disempowers you. And it's really hard because today the news rattles in your pocket. It chases you. It's all around you. Or someone in social media is telling you something. People send me videos, smart people from people saying this is the end times for humanity and that this coronavirus is going to destroy us all. They said the same thing about SARS. They said the same thing about Zika. They said we can go on and on and on through time. The bird flu. We're still here, right? Doesn't mean you shouldn't wash your hands 20 minutes multiple times a day or be smart, but you don't shut your life down because of it. So, but if you focus on what you fear, that's all you live. So here's 3 things we focus on. I'll give you a quick test, okay? The first focus people have is, we all do both these, but I want to know which one you do more. First focus is, do you focus more on what you have in your life, what you already have, or do you focus more on what's missing? Honest answer. Put it up here, throw up here and tell me the answer. I'm going to scan and see what you guys' answers are. Do you tend to focus more on what you already have, or do you focus more on what's missing? Let me see. Pop them on there for me if you don't mind. I'm seeing a few of them there. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, yes, the alt edge is out there. You guys, it's part of this program. Good. So whenever I do it in a big audience, 10, 12, 15,000 people, I've won last year 35,000 people in a football stadium. 90% of people, 89% of the people are focused on what's missing. And it's kind of the achiever's curse. Like, knowing what's missing may give you some drive, but if you never focus on what you have, you don't feel gratitude for what you have, how are you ever going to stay happy no matter how much you achieve? See, there's a time to focus on what's missing. For a brief time, so you say, what do I need to improve? And then let the hell go and focus on what you have and let that give you the energy and power. Do you have love in your life? Do you have a friend? Do you have family? Do you have health? Do you live in a free country? I mean, there's so many things that could give you joy and energy and gratitude, not being a positive thinker, just being honest and intelligent. But the human brain, the 2 million-year-old brain, the survival brain will make you look at what could go wrong, it'll freeze you, or it'll make you angry, it'll make you fearful, it'll make you blame others, it'll make you blame yourself. See, you got to develop the habit of focusing on what you have. And one of the ways I do that, it's the most simplistic way is each day I make a little list. If I get stressed, I stop and I make a list. What's magnificent in my life? Oh my God, I have the love of my life and my wife. I have the most amazing children. I have 4 grandchildren, a 5th one on the way. I have a mission that I love, right? I have friends that are extraordinary, right? I have my health, my vitality, and my strength. And it's just like you start stacking, because most of us, when we overreact, it's because we stack the negative. That's also what happens with fear. It's like, if you ever overreacted at your kids or to a dear friend, you feel bad afterwards. It's not because of what they just did. It's that it happened again, right? They keep doing it. First time, oh, it bothers you. Second time, 5th time, what are you doing? You get a little crazy. Well, we stack negatives till we hit the threshold, the negative threshold. But you can also stack positives. That's what I do when I make my little list of what's magnificent in my life. And I do it all the time. And many of the things, the first things come to my mind are the same things before, but they stack. They remind me. They trigger my nervous system and come back to reality instead of getting in my head. Does that make sense? Here's a second pattern of focus. There's 3 questions that we answer. First one is, what are we going to focus on? So some people focus more on what they have, some people focus on what's missing. Focus more on what you have, you're going to be more grateful, have more energy. What's missing should be a short, brief moment, almost schedule. What's missing? Let me figure out, and I'm going to make it happen. Second area you can focus on. Do you tend to focus more on what you can control or what you can't control? What you can control or can't control? Where do you spend more of your time? Now, when I ask this of my audience, it's a little split, but it stands the link much stronger to what they can control. That's why they go to a seminar, because they're like, I'm going to go and learn all the tools to take control of my life. So it's different than most people. If you're focused on what's missing and what you can't control, how are you going to feel? Stressed out, pissed off, frustrated, worried, lonely, depressed. That's what happens. You're constantly saying, well, it's missing from my life and I can't control it. But we can't control everything, obviously, but we can influence it. You certainly can't control coronavirus or any other virus, but you can control and have an impact on your immune system. Being fearful, all science shows, depresses your immune system, so that's not helping anything. And running around scared not going to do it for you. So focus on what you can control, and sure enough, you're going to change the quality of your life. You focus on what you can't control and stack it with what's missing, not hard. I'm sure you met somebody. Well, before I tell you, I'm going to give you one more example of focus. And by the way, I can give you dozens of these. These are just 3 quickies that I like to use because they're so obvious. We all focus at times on our past, sometimes on our present moment, sometimes on our future. If I asked you, where do you spend more time, in the past, the present, or the future? Type it in. Where do you do it? I'll look real quick here. I'm trying not to look away at this because I'm staying with you, but I'm in uptime with you. But let me look here to see what you're saying. Focus more on what's missing. There, I see you, Dave. I see McKella. I'm trying to figure it out. Grateful, blessings. Stack the magnificent. Good, nice job. Antonio, feel blessed. Pam. Lily Piper Smith. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, so many beautiful messages. Thank you. So here's the bottom line. We all focus on past, present, future. When I go to my audience and say, how many of you focus on the past? It's usually a small number, because if you focus on the past, you probably aren't going to find tools to make your life better, because you can't change the past. Then it kind of feels overwhelming, unless the past was magnificent, in which case you're probably more focused on the present and future because you feel filled up. Some people focus on the present, which is where you're going to have control of your life. Future allows you to anticipate. If you're only in the future, you're stressed out, right? Unless you're making a really beautiful future in your mind. If you're only in the present, it feels good, you're not prepared. We need to put more focus on the present and future than the past. Go to the past a little bit. So watch this. Just take 3 patterns. What if someone has the habit of focusing on what's missing all the time, habit of focusing on what they can't control and what the past they've not done a good job with? They're going to be depressed. They're going to be angry. They're going to feel fearful. They're going to be worried. They're going to be stressed. Can you see that? It's like a program. It doesn't matter who the human is. It's like a program in your mind. It's going to take control. But think about this. If you've seen somebody, I bet all of you know somebody. I ask this in live seminars often. I'll say, how many of you know somebody who takes antidepressants and they're still depressed? And 98% of the room raised their hand from 50 different countries. Well, how could somebody take all the antidepressants and still be depressed? Because they haven't dealt with the source of the problem. All drugs will do is numb you, but if you keep focusing on what's missing, what I can't control, all the problems of the past, you're still going to be depressed or angry or frustrated. Does that make sense? So your focus going forward is to train your brain. This is what business is about. Business is the ultimate spiritual game. You say, what? Business is spiritual? Yes. Go to succeed in business. You got to learn to do more for others than anybody else is doing. That's what I'm trying to do with you here. There's no promise for me to be here today. I just want to support you. I want to support you that are in the game to go to another level. And if you're brand new, I want to support you getting started and making this thing happen. That's why I came by today. So it's like, I want you to have the victory you deserve. And the only thing that's going to stop you is that 4-letter F word, fear. And don't let it. Turn fear in itself. It's like, I'm more fearful of not having a great life than trying something and not working. Of course, it's not going to work a lot of times. So I'm going to learn, I'm going to learn, I'm going to learn. It's not failure if I've learned. I'm going to focus on giving, adding more value than anybody else and getting better at that. And every time I get better, it'll get stronger. And I'm going to focus on what I have in my hands right now, this program, these insights, this opportunity to build something new. And by the way, the coronavirus, how great this business is, because you guys can do it by Zoom. You don't have to even do it live. You can, one of our new people came on board and had, I think, 7,000 people show up for his first event. I mean, I didn't do that. I don't think most of you are going to do that, but it's pretty amazing. Other people have had 7 people, but they've been enrolled them in an ongoing mastermind. I mean, you get to do this no matter whether people are home or not. What a perfect business for you in these crazy times. So get in the game. You can't win without getting in the game. Focus on what you have. Be grateful. Let that gratitude give you energy. Focus on what you can control and keep adding to your skills. Feed your mind. Add those components to it. Focus on the present, what you can do right now, and focus on the future, what you're going to do to make it happen. And put yourself in a place where you don't wait till you feel good to do it. Just do it and get yourself in some kind of daily discipline where you put yourself in a strong state. Maybe go on a run or a jog or lift some weights or jump in that cold water. Some little ritual that while you push your body really intensely, it pushes your mind. When you feel strong physically, you're going to still start feeling strong mentally and emotionally. Just remember, it's not about being fearful. It's about doing it anyway. Make sense? So use Ultimate Edge, feed your mind, go to that first module, my dear friends, get yourself started, Dean and I, in that area, and I'm going to see and notice all the messages you're putting here and see how you guys are doing, and we'll leave a few messages here and there for you as well. But we got the tools in your hands, and there are many people here in the Facebook group that are crushing it. They can share what you've done, and there are other people that are scared, but they're just getting started, and they're doing good. So, like, there's every quality of person here to be able to learn from, but the most important person to learn from is you. And you learn that by getting in the game. It's the only way you win. All right? I don't know how long I went here. I hope I didn't go too long. Oh, my God. I thought I was going to go 30 minutes. See, time flies when you're having fun with those you love. Take good care of yourself. And by the way, I know some of you are going to be at the seminar. If you heard, last thing I've ever done, I've never canceled an event, a UBW event in my lifetime in 42 years. Even when I was bleeding out because I had, mercury poisoning in my body, I still got on stage even with a wheelchair. But our event in San Jose was canceled if you were planning on going. And the city forced it. It's just crazy. One person died in the whole state. One person died in the whole county. Now 2 people in the state. And there's a crazy reaction we're dealing with right now. So we have to deal with what's there, and we've already complied with everything to make sure people be healthy. So you'll be hearing from us in the next day or two. We're going to reschedule the event. It's not quit, it's just postponed. And we're finding perhaps a location that can be done even quicker so all of you can join. And some of you I know will be coming there. And the immersion of day and night and day in this environment with a kind of energy with 12 or 13,000 people will blow your mind. And I really look forward to serving you then too. But whether I see you there or an event overseas, or I don't meet you in person, leave some messages here and tell me how you're doing, because we're vested in your goodwill. We're vested in you succeeding. We're vested in you becoming a force for good. And whatever level, I mean, one person's help is worth the whole game, isn't it? And if you learn to do that and enjoy it and grow and earn a secondary income or a primary income or even more than you used to earn, wow, then this community can be just a beautiful place. I look forward to hearing the stories of your success. Love you all. Live strong, live with passion, without the fear. God bless. There we go.